having a great week so far. I did not plan to go live this early today, but Thursdays are starting to be a little busy for me. Thursdays are starting to be a little busy. I actually have a workshop that I plan on attending at 12, so I wanted to make sure that I was able to go live. I think that workshop is about 1.5 hours. So I didn't want to go live at like 2. That was just too late for me. That cuts into my lunchtime. And I wanted to make sure that I had more than enough time to eat before I left out because I have to pick up my nephew at 3. Y'all, it's a busy day. But let me bring the camera down a little bit. Y'all were up kind of high. But I'm excited to go live today. If you looked at the title, we are talking about how to deal with clients like a pro, but not just any clients. Not just any clients. We're talking about how to deal with difficult clients like a pro because y'all, as a stylist specifically, we deal with so many different challenges and so many different situations within our industry that are sometimes hard to navigate and sometimes very hard to manage. Why? Because our industry is non traditional, so you don't typically see a ton of stylists out here. Now I feel like it's starting to become a little bit more normal, but even still, there aren't really too many schools you can attend, too many classes you can take to really learn how to be a successful stylist. And I will say, obviously, PSU exists because of that. But with that being said, I didn't really have a ton of direction when it came to building my business and figuring out how to manage clients and how to talk to clients and how to really walk them through certain situations or even just how to deal with certain situations when it comes to certain clients. A lot of what I've learned have come from trial and error, but also working, just being at a job, which I feel like is so important for us as creatives, as entrepreneurs, as stylists to get that hands on experience. So it may not be something that you want to do right now, but it's definitely going to make sense later down the line if you get a job and work a 9 to 5. It's really going to help you to build up your customer service skills. It's going to help you to build up your communication skills. It's going to help you to build up your organizational skills. It's so many skills, so many transferable skills that you can pick up from a 9 to 5 that will truly help you in your business. And that's something that I wanted to highlight before we hop into this because it's so important. I feel like so many stylists today are wanting to just jump right into being a stylist. They want to just jump right into dressing people and having a bunch of clients, but they've never actually had a real job. They've never actually had the ability to just learn how to talk to people. That's the biggest thing. Hey, y'all, thanks for tuning in. And I will say that from my experience, that's where I learned how to do a lot of what I am currently doing in my business. I learned a lot from it. I learned a lot from my jobs that I've had. I've worked at multiple companies, had multiple roles, did a lot. And I've learned a lot and took a lot from those experiences and have put it into my business. So stylists are always asking me, how did you do this? How did you learn how to do this? How did you know? From my job. From the jobs that I've had in the past. I may have hated them or they may not have been a place where I knew that I wanted to stay for a long period of time, but I knew that I was there for a reason and I soaked up as much as I could to get to the next level in my business and in my career. Hey y'all, thanks so much for tuning in. So today I'm talking about how to handle difficult clients like a pro, specifically as a stylist. So I don't have a ton of time. I have 3 speaking points. I'm trying to make sure hey y'all. I'm trying to make sure that am able to make my workshop that I plan on attending at 12. So really don't have a ton of time. But anyway, let's start with my 3 points. Point number 1, you want to make sure you're setting the tone early with clear expectations. I'm looking to the left because I want to make sure I pinpoint all of my notes that I have for you all today. So point number 1, in order to really deal with difficult clients like a pro or handle difficult clients like a pro, you want to set the tone early with with clear expectations. Setting the tone is really what's going to set the foundation for your entire client experience. So when I say setting the tone, I mean getting all the rules out, getting all the obligations out, getting all of everything out in the beginning. Now, obviously, when you're saying all these things in the beginning, you want to make sure you are continuing to say these same things throughout the entire process, because people forget. People forget some of the things that they may not want to hear throughout the process that you're taking them through. Hey y'all, thanks for joining in. Let me know if you have any questions, and also let me know where you're tuning in from below. But you want to set the tone because, again, you want to make sure that you and the client are on the same page. We don't have time for you and the client to not be on the same page, because honestly, it's going to take up time. You're going to waste time, and you want to make sure you are using your time wisely when you're working with your clients. Most of the time, you don't have a ton of time. So you want to make sure you are maximizing your time and using your time wisely. And you do that by setting the tone, setting the foundation, making sure they know everything that they need to do on their end, and also being clear about everything that you plan to do on your end for them. So, talk about the importance of setting boundaries. So, you want to make sure you are setting boundaries early in the relationship. Let them know, like, hey, this is how I do things. This is how we do things. This is what we're going to do. This is what I expect from you, and this is what you will expect from me. You can say these things. You can also have these things laid out in a contract or an agreement. Definitely make sure you're sending contracts and agreements. You also want to make sure, again, that you are saying these things throughout the entire process, because people only hear what they want to hear. Also, too, people aren't always listening everything. They're not always listening at everything that you say. So if you're constantly saying the same things over and over again, they'll finally get it, because it'll finally click. Also, make sure you are clear on the scope of the service. So, how exactly things will work. I always make sure I explain to my clients, hey, so this is what's next. This is the next step. I have an entire process that I take all of my clients through. We start from point A, and I take them all the way through point Z. And throughout that process, I'm constantly letting them know, like, hey, we're now in this phase. The next phase is this. And I make sure everything is organized, everything is titled. The subject line of all of my emails say whatever phase that we're in. I really make sure that I am clearly communicating what exactly is happening. Because especially when you're working with clients virtually, you want to make sure that, again, y'all are always on the same page. So you'll be sending a ton of emails, you'll be sending a ton of check-ins, you'll be sending a ton of deliverables, and you can get lost in all of that information. You can get lost in all of those emails. So when you are being organized, making sure that you are saying the right thing in the right emails, and you're paying attention that you're in the right phase with the client, and just being clear about that is super important. And communication, of course, is extremely important. Difficult clients often arise from misaligned expectations. So when the client isn't clear about what they are receiving from you, when the client isn't clear about how the process will work, when the client isn't clear about anything, that makes it hard for you all to have a really, really great experience. And it also makes it hard for you to do your job as a stylist. You want to make sure that you are making it easy for the client to receive what it is that you are providing them. You are providing an experience. You're serving the client. So that is your main focus. So whatever it is the client needs, whatever it is the client wants, and whatever it is the client is looking for, and that you're providing, you want to make sure you are clear with that and you are communicating that. So, hey, y'all, thanks so much for tuning in. So, point number 2, remain professional and not personal. Sometimes we really have to understand that the clients may miss an email, they may misunderstand something, they may not fully be on the same page as you. And it's nothing that you should take personal. I get it. As a personal stylist, we work personal with the clients. We get very personal with the clients. But as far as, taking them through an experience, you cannot get personal. This is business. So if they miss an email, if they don't see something, if they don't understand something, keep it professional. Make sure you reiterate what it is that you said, although you may have said it before. Don't be afraid to say it again. Look, we're dealing with humans. It's not like we're dealing with people who, are, I don't know, just are perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're not even perfect as stylists. So it's so important to give people grace. It's so important to understand what people may or may not be going through. It's so important to just give people the ability to make a mistake. As long as you've done your part, you can always say, hey, yeah, I sent that email to you already, but here it is again. Or, hey, I'm sorry you missed, our session, but we can always reschedule for another time. Be open to just kind of having that process set in stone, but also going with the flow a bit, because every client is going to be different. Every client is going to be different. Every client's needs are going to be different. Every client's availability is going to be different. Every client's communication skills and communication level is going to be different, but yours has to stay the same. You have to have a certain standard that you set when you are working with each and every client. You should be able to treat each and every client the exact same. You should not be treating one different versus the other, or taking one through a different process versus another process. Every client has to go through the same exact process, and every client has to be treated the same exact way, regardless of how they treat you, or regardless of how they handle, the experience that you are taking them through. So keep it professional. Keep it so professional. You have to be able to detach your emotion from, whoever the client is, whether it be a friend, whether it be a family member. I will say most of the time my clients are not friends or family members. My clients are people I never met before. My clients are people who may just know me from social media. My clients are people who may be meeting me for the first time. So I don't have any emotional attachment to them specifically. Now, I do have emotional attachment to my work. I'm not going to lie. I put a lot of hard work, and I do a lot of hard work, and I put a lot of time and effort into what it is that I'm providing my client. And, I want to make sure they like what I'm providing them. I want to make sure they're appreciating the time and the technique that I'm putting into their lookbooks or their mood boards. But again, you have to separate your emotion from the work and what you're doing. One reason being is because nobody is going to be as passionate as you about your work than, nobody else is going to be as passionate about your work than you are. So not everybody is going to see or understand or really have the same vision as you when it comes to your work and your business and what you're providing. So it's okay if they don't like something. It's okay if they don't see the vision that you've put in front of them. It's okay when they aren't on the same page as you. Just make sure that you do your best to get back on the same page as the client. And you can do that by asking them questions, getting a better understanding of what they're looking for, making sure that they fully understand your process before you get any deeper into the experience, and really being transparent and honest with the client. Always tell my clients, like, look, in order for this to work, in order for me to really transform your life, and in order for me to provide you with the experience that you're looking for, you have to be honest with me. You have to be transparent with me. And I do my best to create a space where the client feels comfortable enough to do that. I don't want people, because they've done it in the past, and I still kind of deal with this at one of the companies that I work for. But I don't want people to feel like they can't be honest with me about whether or not they like something, or whether or not, they don't like something. Because in order for me to make sure that I'm providing you with the service that you're looking for, and in order for me to make sure that I'm doing my job, I need to know how you feel. I need to get some feedback from you. I need your honest opinions. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean you're hurting my feelings. I didn't make any of these clothes. I didn't hand stitch these pieces. They didn't ship from my house. This is not my brand. Like, literally, I'm just making suggestions. So it's so important for you to make your client comfortable enough to be transparent and to be honest with you, because otherwise they won't be, and they either will ghost you or they will pretend that they like what you provided them just to make you feel happy. And that is not what you want your clients to do. So last but not least, last but not least, in order to handle difficult clients like a pro, you have to know when to walk away. You have to know when to walk away and how to do it with class. There have been quite a few clients that I had to break up with because they just weren't seeing the vision. They just weren't appreciating the value that I was offering them. And truly, they just didn't understand what they were supposed to get out of this experience. Now, not to say that I wasn't transparent, not to say that I didn't set the foundation in the beginning, because I know that I did. But sometimes, even still doing that, you're still going to get clients who just don't get it. You're not going to click. You're not going to work well together. And that's all right. You can always refer them to someone else, or, just let them know, hey, this isn't working and I want to make sure that I'm doing my job. I want to make sure that I'm doing all that I can to best help you. And at this point in time, it doesn't seem like this is actually working. And that's all right. You can politely break up with a client and let them know, hey, at this time, I will no longer be moving forward with you. It doesn't seem like this is actually working. And you have to figure out what that process will look like for you and your client. Whether you, send them an email, whether you set up a call to kind of walk them through the next best steps, especially when you're in the middle of providing a service. Now, if you're in the middle of providing a service, you can always say, yeah, you're going to finish out the service and that's it. Or you can stop right in the middle, whatever you feel like is best for you, but you have to have that process and procedure set in place. So, in knowing when to break up with clients, you have to understand that not every client is your client. Some clients may seem like they're great, some clients may seem like they're perfect up front, but once you start working with them, you realize, like, yeah, this isn't it. I specifically remember one client I was working with that I thought would be perfect. And this was honestly in the process of me transitioning from in person to virtual. So I was offering like a virtual lookbook of a variety of pieces, of a variety of outfits for the client to shop. And the pieces were shoppable. So this particular client, she knew who I was. We actually met in person quite a few times, and she finally, was inclined to work with me. And she she knew, at least I explained to her, that the experience would be virtual, that I would be providing suggestions virtually. And I went ahead, we had a conversation. I understood what she was looking for. Although I typically provide full looks or multiple pieces, a variety of styles, she specifically just wanted tops. So I said, okay, that's a little odd, but sure. So I put together a lookbook of a variety of tops. So I did some casual tops, I did some business casual tops, I did some dressier tops, I did some statement tops, and I gave her a variety, and they were all shoppable. All of these tops truly aligned with what she was looking for, at least from my understanding. So she received the lookbook. I, allowed her to, I gave her some time and allowed her to like look through the lookbook before I followed up to get her thoughts and get her opinions. I want to say, I can't remember specifically, so don't quote me, but it had been some time. I had reached out and didn't hear back from her. And then I want to say I either followed up either one or two other times. And she finally got back to me and she says, hey, I appreciate the experience, or I appreciate the items that you picked out for me, but I think I would prefer to touch and feel the pieces before making a decision. Now, at the time, I immediately got irritated because I had already explained to her that this process was virtual, that I would give her access to, links and websites where she could shop for tops. So there was no way that she would be able to touch and feel anything because this was a virtual experience. She knew that from the jump. This is exactly what she signed up for. And when she said that, I just didn't understand. But I let it go. I said, you know what? No worries at all. I completely understand. You won't be able to touch and feel anything with this virtual experience. So maybe it will just be best for you to go inside a store. At this point, she had already paid me for the lookbook, so it was really nothing else that I needed from her. So that was it. And you may or may not experience situations like that, but I will say that when you do, just make sure that you are fulfilling the client's needs and also making sure that you have a process, like I mentioned, a process or a procedure in place for you to either break up with the client or continue to move forward in the best way possible. I didn't refund her any money. I didn't do any of that because the work had already been done. The time had already been put into the lookbook that I created. So it's so important to make sure that you recognize when the experience between you and the client isn't working. And for you as the expert to make the proper decisions moving forward, whether or not you want to continue working with the client or whether or not you want to actually break up with the client. But always make sure you do it professionally and that you keep it professional. But you definitely have to recognize those red flags. We talked about this in another live. You have to recognize when clients aren't really your client. You have to recognize that. Because if you don't, you're going to continue attracting clients that don't fully understand your process, clients that don't really want to finish out the experience with you, and clients that just don't get it. And that's not fun. That's not fun at all. So, that's all I got for y'all today. So just a quick recap as far as how to handle difficult clients like a pro. You want to set the tone early. You want to set boundaries and you want to set the tone and continue setting the tone throughout the experience so the client remembers exactly how this process is going to work. You want to remain professional and not personal. You have to understand that you are building a relationship, but you're building a business relationship with the client. So be professional, be nice, be open, and always make sure that you provide a space for the client to be honest and transparent with you about everything. But also make sure that you're not getting your feelings and your emotions attached to whatever the client may be saying about what you picked out for them, or even just the clothes in general. And then last but not least, know when to walk away because not every client is your client. And you, as the expert, need to make sure that you are only working with people who truly appreciate the experience that you're providing them, but also making sure that you are in the business of serving your clients and transforming their lives. And you can't do that if you're working with people who don't appreciate that, don't understand that, don't give you what you need from them, because you won't be able to do your job at the end of the day. So I hope this was helpful to you all. This was a quick live segment. Definitely make sure if you have not already, I didn't even introduce myself, but I will quickly. Definitely make sure if you have not already, check the description box to subscribe to my mailing list to stay connected to me, to know when I go live. Make sure you subscribe to these lives, subscribe to my channel so that you know when I'm going live. In my emails, I also send an email out as well to let people know when I'm going live. But also I send tips, I send replays, I send invites to different workshops and masterclasses and private programs that I'm hosting as well. And also a private community that I just launched and I'm excited for. I also want to make sure that y'all are coming to my challenge. So I'm hosting a 3-day challenge starting Monday, April 14th through Wednesday, April 16th, called From Client List to Relentless. And that challenge is going to deal with quite a few different topics. Day one, we're going to be talking about your client so you understand who your client is and who you're serving. Day two, we're going to be talking about showing up consistently and really making sure that you are showing up in the right spaces. And day three, we're going to be talking about pricing your offers and making sure that what you're pricing and what you're offering really aligns with who you are as a stylist, but also aligns with your client's needs. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you click the link in the description box to register. It's a free 3-day challenge that I'll be hosting here on YouTube. So I'm so excited for that. And I have a ton of surprises on day three. So make sure that you stay tuned and tune in. So I am happy to, again, go live to connect with y'all today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kristen Johnson. I'm the CEO and founder of PSU, which is Project Style University, where I help first generation personal stylists. Y'all, I'm talking too fast. Where I help first generation personal stylists transform their love for styling into a profitable business. So I hope this live segment was helpful to you all. I hope y'all understood everything and picked up all the gems that I was dropping. And I hope to see y'all next Thursday live, hopefully at 12:30, if not earlier. But thank you all again for tuning in. I'll see you soon.